When it comes to underrated, top-tier shows, Slugterra certainly deserves a spot on the list. This surprisingly well-written, plot-driven series often flies under the radar. While some viewers still have noted inconsistencies, many find that any lingering questions are addressed as the story unfolds. For example, Dr. Black's pale greenish skin may initially seem like a standard villain trope, but the show later reveals that his appearance is the result of his own experiments. It's these thoughtful details that set Slugterra apart. So without further ado, let's dive in. First, a little background for better understanding. After the death of his father, 15-year-old Eli Shane takes on the mantle of his family's legacy and descends into the secret underground world of Slugterra.
Kind of a mess.
This vibrant, cavern-filled realm is home to an array of unique characters and the thrilling sport of slug slinging. In this competitive game, players shoot slug-filled capsules from specialized blasters, and as the slugs accelerate, they transform into powerful creatures with extraordinary abilities. The goal is to outmaneuver opponents, with the winner claiming the loser's slug to build an arsenal of diverse weapons. However, in Slugterra, not all duels are friendly. The sinister Dr. Black has his eyes set on total domination, mutating slugs to aid his dark plans. Now, it's up to Eli and his loyal team to defend Slugterra from the looming threat and stop Dr. Black's evil ambitions. The first scene of Season 1 opens in the middle of a duel between Will Shane and Dr. Black. Will has the upper hand, but Black reveals a secret weapon, a ghoul slug. The ghoul, however, is unstable and backfires, creating a black hole. As Will begs Black to stop, Black escapes and Will is pulled into the vortex. Just before he's taken, Will fires his favorite slug, Burpee, instructing him to find his son and lead him to a letter. Burpee reaches the surface and finds 10-year-old Eli Shane.
Burpee!
The slug leads Eli to a hidden compartment in the floorboards, where Eli finds a letter from his father. The letter tells him to wait until he's 15 before heading down to Slugterra. 5 years later, 15-year-old Eli is ready to travel to Slugterra. He follows the directions from his father's letter, navigating through a sewer system to find the Drop, a path to the underground world. Eli and Burpee descend into Slugterra and head toward a nearby hideout. There, Eli changes into Slugterran clothes and gathers equipment for his journey. He also finds two mecha beasts, a sleek LKE wolf mecha, which he names Lucky, and a beat-up donkey mecha. Eli and Burpee discover Pronto, a Molinoid tracker hiding in a closet. Pronto is excited to meet Eli and suggests building a collection of slugs. After Eli fires Burpee for the first time, they head to a tournament to find stronger slugs. On the way, Eli intervenes in a bullying situation, but is overpowered. A mysterious girl rescues him and rides off before Eli can learn her name. At the tournament, Eli is mocked for being inexperienced, but Pronto finds Cord Zane, a cave troll, to help him practice. Eli also reunites with the girl Trixie and begins learning slug-slinging tactics from Cord, adding some practice slugs to his collection.
Every slug is useful.
After practicing with Cord, the tournament qualifier begins and Eli is paired against a slinger named Shockwire, who only uses taserlings. Trixie hints that overworking a taserling could cause it to misfire. Despite having only floppers and Burpee, Eli dodges Shockwire's attacks until a taserling misfires, giving Eli the chance to win with Burpee. As his prize, Eli gets to choose one of Shockwire's slugs.
He's got some good ones, Eli.
At that moment, a taserling hops into Eli's hand, making the choice for him, and he names it Jules. Meanwhile, at Black Industries, Dr. Black's henchman Morris informs him of a boy calling himself Shane. Black ominously hints at many ways to handle the situation as the camera reveals rows of dangerous ghouls. Eli and Pronto are climbing a rock wall with a pit of lava below them. Eli nearly falls but catches himself on Pronto's blaster handle, exclaiming he's almost fallen again after already slipping 3 times. They finally reach the top where the first round of the tournament will take place. Trixie and Cord are already there, having taken an easier path that Pronto conveniently forgot to mention. The tournament begins with one-on-one duels. Eli faces a slinger named Jacques, and after a rocky start manages to win, claiming an armor-shelled slug and naming it Banger. Trixie then faces the flamboyant king of Sling, who loses due to his overconfidence. She literally defeats him in 3 quick shots. Cord also wins his match, but it's off-screen. Meanwhile, at Black Industries, Morris discusses Eli with Dr. Black, who, while uninterested, still wants to keep an eye on him. The Shane gang departs for the cavern holding the next tournament round. During the journey, Eli learns about Cord and Trixie's past. Cord prefers slug slinging over engineering, while Trixie grew frustrated with people not standing up to villains. Pronto leads them through a shortcut, overlooking Shadow Clan markings, mistakenly believing they're safe. The gang soon encounters the clan, and Eli distracts them, letting his friends escape.
Eli, he meant run away!
While he uses Burpee to create a firewall for his own escape. In the next round, Eli, Trixie, and Cord face the power of triplets in a 3-on-3 duel.
Who are these guys anyway?
Initially overwhelmed, Eli rallies his friends and devises a plan, using Banger to trap the triplets in stalactites and win the duel. This victory attracts Dr. Black's attention, who confronts Eli with a monstrous slug he claims to have fixed, warning Eli to stay out of his way. Before the finals, Dr. Black visits John Bull, convincing him to use the ghoul that Eli turned down to win the final match. Although John is hesitant at first, he ultimately accepts the slug. During the tournament, Eli performs well against John Bull, but in frustration, John unleashes the ghoul. Eli tries to intercept it with Burpee, but Burpee hesitates and gets defeated. The clash between the ghoul and Infernus knocks Eli down, leading to Bull's victory. Rejecting Eli's slugs as a prize, John claims he only needs the ghoul, causing his own slugs to abandon him. Later, Eli reads his father's letter and shares his sadness with Burpee. Pronto, Cord, and Trixie join him, vowing to protect Slugterra and stop Dr. Black. They officially become the new Shane gang. Just then, they hear a man calling for help and an explosion in the distance. Eli declares, "Guess that answers that question," and the gang rides off on their mecha beasts to save the day. After a duel with CC and discovering their hideout has been trashed,
Yeah, bro, you're the only one of us who's ever faced one.
the Shane gang decides to buy boosters for their gear. At the shop, Eli learns the owner only accepts slugs as payment, forcing him to give up jewels. Regretting his decision, Eli demands jewels back, only to discover that the shopkeeper supplies Dr. Black with slugs. The gang soon faces Black's enforcer, El Diablo's Nacho, a brilliant name, who arrives to collect the slugs. Unfortunately, Black's men manage to steal Jules and the other slugs. Determined to save Jules from being ghouled, Eli resolves to infiltrate Black's fortress. While Pronto, Cord, and Trixie tunnel underground to rescue the slugs, Eli distracts Black by demanding Jules. After an intense duel, the gang successfully escapes with Jules and frees the other slugs too. While attempting to catch a frost crawler, Pronto accidentally causes the slugs in the cavern to reach speeds of 100 miles per hour, freezing the area. Eli launches Burpee, who burns through the ice and helps them escape. They discover a frost crawler has already joined their team by hitching a ride on Lucky's tail, but Eli's blaster gets damaged. Cord suggests visiting Red Hook, a blaster expert on Quiet Lawn Cavern. Upon arrival, they find the Hooli gang terrorizing the place where Granook slugs inhabit. Eli challenges their leader, Billy, to a trick shot contest. After winning, Billy refuses to accept defeat, leading to a slug battle that they also lose. Eli saves a seemingly useless slug from Billy, naming it Doc. Red Hook later refuses to fix Eli's blaster, calling it junk. Billy returns with his slugs ghouled by Dr. Black. Eli returns to Red Hook's place, where Pronto tries to apologize, but Red Hook remains firm. However, upon recognizing Eli as Will Shane's son, Red Hook changes his mind and gifts him a new blaster, one of only 2 in Slugterra, with the other belonging to Will. Another battle breaks out, and Eli's gang finds themselves cornered. They cleverly combine a sonic snare with Granook slugs, knocking out all the Hooli gang members except for Billy. In a desperate move, Billy uses his last ghoul, but Eli counters with Doc. The 2 slugs collide in the air, and Doc's healing abilities revealed when the ghoul, well, unghouls. The Shane gang loads Grenouge slugs into their blasters, sending the hooligan packing once more and officially welcomes Doc into their team. The scene then opens with a commercial for the slug run, promising a crystallized slug as the prize. Motivated, Eli decides to enter the race despite the gang's protests, persuading them to join him. At the starting line, Pronto spots Cedo, a rival Molinoid. Just before the race begins, Vance Bolt, a champion racer who secretly works for Dr. Black, arrives to compete.
Yes, I know. I'm right on time.
As the race starts, Eli and Pronto bolt off with the other racers, but they soon fall into Shadow Clan territory. After narrowly escaping, they make their way back to the track, only to accidentally awaken a swarm of crystal worms. The racers find themselves in a panic as they are chased by the worms, culminating in the awakening of a massive crystal worm that pursues Eli and Vance. Eli and Vance reach a tunnel during the race, where Vance uses his boosters to speed ahead while Eli struggles to propel himself forward using a slug. Eli crosses the finish line only to find that he came in second place. Surprisingly, Vance approaches Eli and hands him the crystallized slug, recognizing Eli as a rider, not a slinger, and appreciating his determination to keep it away from Dr. Black. However, Cedo then reveals himself as Black's backup agent and threatens them with his mecha's weapons, demanding the crystallite. Just then, Cedo falls into a hole that Pronto created using his crystallite. Before Vance departs, Eli asks him to train him, while Pronto excitedly recounts their adventure, only to realize that everyone has already left. The Shane gang is hunting a speedy slug, the hoverbug, but their mecha beasts malfunction, allowing the slug to taunt Eli and escape. Back at their hideout, Cord tries to troubleshoot the issue, but suspects it may be related to recent upgrades from the Great Western Forge. So they head there for assistance. Upon arrival, they discover that the cave trolls who usually run the forge have left, and the newcomer, Darius Yorman, is now in charge. He sends the malfunctioning mecha beasts for control checks and offers the gang a tour of the forge. Meanwhile, Dr. Black is seen acquiring dark water to inject into a bull mecha's energy core. During the tour, Eli grows suspicious when Darius mentions a closed-off section of the building. Determined to investigate, Eli and Pronto sneak into the restricted area, discovering technicians using dark water to ghoul mechas. After confronting the technicians, Eli and Pronto discover Grendel and the other cave trolls imprisoned by Darius, who is sabotaging mechas for Dr. Black. His plan is to force the people of Slugterra to abandon their mechas in favor of Black's train company. Meanwhile, Trixie and Cord are captured, but are freed by Eli and Pronto. Together, the trolls and the Shane gang manage to thwart Black's technicians, but many mechas have already been ghouled, including the gangs. Eli uses Doc to counter the effects of dark water, successfully freeing the mechas. They then capture Darius and his accomplices. In the final scene, Trixie reveals she filmed the sabotage, while Dr. Black, frustrated by the failure of the forge, orders Nacho to produce even more ghouls for his future plans. The Shane gang is navigating through fog towards Deadweed cavern, searching for Frightgeist slugs that induce fear. While Eli confidently ventures inside, Pronto hesitates. Trixie records the adventure, but briefly sees a shadow in her camera. They soon encounter ghosts and men
Turn back!
formed by dark water, prompting a panicked escape. However, the exit closes, trapping them inside. As they explore, they discover a massive pool of dark water used by Dr. Black's ghoul slugs. El Diablo's Nacho arrives, instructing his guards to wear protective suits, and unleashes a Nightgeist to scare away the gang. The Shane gang infiltrates a control room, realizing that Black is mining dark water to create ghouls by converting it into a gas that transforms slugs. Determined to cut off Black's supply, they suit up and infiltrate the mining operation.
Bet strange things would happen around this stuff.
The Shane gang is soon discovered, leading to a fierce battle. Eli fires a ramstone, but Nacho dodges and retaliates with a thrasher. Eli narrowly avoids it and counters with Chiller, momentarily freezing Nacho. However, Nacho breaks free, firing his Nightgeist and hitting Eli. He escapes, dragging Burpee along as the ghosts confront him. and Eli, inspired by a friendly fright guy Slug, enlists the ghost's help to confront Nacho. Meanwhile, Cord and Trixie work to stop the Darkwater pool. Nacho, unafraid of the ghosts, retreats to the Slugterra Express with his stash of dark water. Cord manages to shut down the pump, transforming the ghosts back into normal men. They explain that Deadweed was once a gold mine before Dr. Black's takeover. Grateful, they gift the Shane gang some fright guy slugs. Despite the assistance, Eli feels it's a hollow victory since Nacho and Black escape with the dark water, ending with a scene of Black surrounded by containers of it. The Shane gang interrupts Lock and Load's attack on a shipment of Fandango slugs. Crucial for reviving Bullseye Cavern after the native slugs fled due to dark water. On their way, Eli learns that slug energy powers Slugterra's caverns. Lock and Load pursue them, causing a cave-in that leads the gang through Shadow Clan territory. Pronto's antics prompt a chase, culminating in Eli trying to reason with a Shadow Clan member. Just as tensions rise, Burpee chirps frantically, and the clan lets them pass, leaving Eli curious about Burpee's message. Upon reaching Bullseye Cavern, they introduce the Fandangos, but the slugs flee in fear just as Lock and Load make a dramatic entrance. Eli and Cord confront the duo while Pronto searches for the Fandangos, and Trixie investigates the source of the slugs' fear deep in Bullseye. After beating the troublesome duo, Trixie informs the boys that the slugs are running from dark water that is seeping out of the cavern's monument, so Eli asks Doc if he can handle purifying this much, to which he replies with a serious and pumped up look. "You go, Doc." As Doc tries to clean the dark water, he begins to lose steam, and just at that moment, Pronto arrives with one Fandango, which Trixie says is enough to give Doc a boost, and it does. Now the dark water is purified, and the Fandangos and native slugs find some new places to roost. The gang wonders how many other caverns are starting to be infected with dark water, and whatever happened to Lock and Load. Lock and Load ran to regroup and question if they should now inform Black, just when Shadow Clan arrive and chase them. Pronto gets captured for illegally spitting gum in a restricted area, prompting the Shane gang to devise a plan to free him and other unjustly imprisoned individuals. To succeed, they need to execute a complex trick shot. Their first attempt fails spectacularly. Cord recalls a legendary trick shooter named Mario Bravado, who quit after losing a bet to Dr. Black. They find Mario working at Ricochet Pizza, where he uses his slug to ricochet ingredients for making pizzas. Eli tries to convince Mario to help them with the trick shot, but Mario opts to teach Eli the art of trick shooting through pizza making. Eli eventually masters the technique, and Mario decides to join the gang to help free Pronto and the others. Eli finds out that Pronto is on a speed train heading into a tunnel and has to separate Pronto's wagon from the main express. Eli does a really good trick shot and he switches the path of Pronto's wagon, but it leads to a dead end, and Mario does a crazy trick shot and frees all the prisoners and opens the wagon. Unfortunately, Pronto didn't make it and is falling to his death when Eli trick shoots a slug that catches Pronto and saves him. Mario goes back to his pizza job again, and Eli thanks him and offers him a place in the team, to which Mario responds, "Not now." In the next episode, on a painfully slow day, largely due to Pronto's cooking, Trixie convinces the Shane gang to hunt for the rare enigma slug. Upon arrival, they discover they're not the only ones searching for them. Several other hunters are present, along with a couple looking to purchase the slug. The gang tries to persuade the hunters to stop cutting down trees, as this endangers the native slugs' habitat. They collectively decide to smoke the enigma out using flare-and-goes. Eli accidentally triggers a deadly slug trap, but manages to save a slug from falling into it.
Whoa, now that's a serious trap.
To his shock, Trixie reveals that the saved slug is Enigma. Suddenly, Stalker, a feared slug hunter, demands the Enigma and the trap back. A shootout ensues, with Eli using the Enigma, but suffering a backlash that distorts his vision. Trixie saves him, and Eli admits he couldn't see how the Enigma transformed. The Shane gang embarks on a distressed hunt for the rare Enigma slug while evading the notorious hunter Stalker and his slughounds. As they navigate the traps set by Stalker, Cord gets tranquilized, Trixie is trapped in a cage, and Pronto falls into a pit, leaving Eli to face Stalker alone. Using Chiller and Spinner, Eli manages to evade the hounds, but gets cornered by Stalker, who captures the enigma. With Burpee's help, Eli regains his vision after a slug switch and confronts Stalker again. After a successful duel, Stalker is knocked into his own cage and the gang reunites. They encounter a wealthy couple interested in buying the enigma, but Eli declines, valuing the hard work of saving it over a sale. While fleeing from Black's men after destroying his refinery, the Shane gang escapes into the flumes. A mysterious river beneath Slugterra. Cord teaches the gang how to use their mecha beast to run on water, confessing his dislike for it and admitting he showers only once a year. The chase intensifies until they duck into a side tunnel, causing Black's men to stop and laugh, leaving Eli puzzled. As the gang realizes the enemy's laughter, Eli figures out that they are heading toward a waterfall, prompting urgency to escape before it's too late. The gang finds themselves in Undertow Cavern, ruled by the reptilian pirate captain Malvolio Drake. He offers them a choice: surrender some slugs or turn back. The gang refuses and attempts to escape, but gets captured and forced to work for Drake. Meanwhile, a Black Industries ship arrives, leading to an all-out battle between the pirates and Black's forces. Amid the chaos, the gang manages to escape and commandeer the Black Industries ship. Eli faces off against Malvolio in a duel with his Mimkey. Ultimately, the gang escapes on their mecha beasts, freeing the captured slugs in the process and ensuring their victory against both the pirates and Black's crew. The gang, exhausted from maintaining order in Slugterra, visits a mall to unwind, play games, and shop for a new bag for Pronto. However, their relaxation is interrupted when they are chased by zombies. They receive help from the mall's security slinger as they investigate the source of the zombie outbreak. During the chaos, Pronto is captured and taken to Mr. Saturday, who uses a Gould hypnoglyph called Cryptoglyph to turn him into a zombie. The gang battles Mr. Saturday and ultimately defeats him. Doc manages to cure the cryptoglyph, restoring all the zombies, including Pronto, to their original forms. Mr. Saturday is then sent to mall jail, and the gang finally gets to enjoy their day. After pursuing one of Dr. Black's troops for vital information, the Shane gang is ambushed by an enforcer in the cavern. Just as they are about to be overwhelmed, they are rescued by Twist, a slinger with a rare thuglet slug named Loki. Grateful for his help, the gang invites Twist to their hideout for food and camaraderie. During their time together, they share their plan to raid a small stronghold used for ghoul storage. To execute their plan, Eli, Cord, Pronto, and Twist disguise themselves as guards to infiltrate the facility.
Nice work, Loki. You can lose the illusion now.
Preparing for the dangerous mission ahead. After getting a cart of ghouls, they attempt to escape. However, waiting outside was El Diablo's Nacho. The gang attempts an escape on mechas, transporting the ghouls in a wagon. However, they are followed and the ghouls escape through a hole caused by an explosion. They are quickly rounded up, however, when Twist uses Loki. Then the gang returns home with their new ally, Twist. Unknown to them, though, was that after Twist left, he went to report back to his employer, who is none other than Dr. Black. Now, Season 2 kicks off with the Shane gang, alongside Twist, devising a plan to rob a train transporting the last of Dr. Black's dark water. However, their scheme quickly unravels when they find themselves trapped by Diablo's Nacho. Cord realizes Twist is secretly working for Dr. Black and warns Eli. A fierce confrontation ensues, with Twist managing to trap Eli and challenging him to a duel. During their fight, Twist reveals his resentment towards Eli, blaming him for being an orphan due to Will Shane's actions. Just as Eli gains the upper hand, Twist escapes. In the aftermath, Dr. Black replaces Nacho with Twist, sending the defeated Diablo's Nacho back to the deep caverns, leaving the Shane gang reeling from the betrayal. While enjoying a drive-in movie at Snowdance Cavern, the Shane gang gets into a skirmish with the Hooli gang, inadvertently awakening a giant ice ogre that grows larger when angered. To prevent a cave-in, Eli decides to surrender the duel. He saves the theater manager, a Molinoid, who suggests using a Slyran slug to lull the ice ogre back to sleep. Meanwhile, Trixie cleverly distracts the ice ogre by complimenting Billy's acting talents. Eli locates the Slayer and Slug nest but nearly falls to his doom while doing so. After requesting the slugs' assistance, the entire nest stops singing, causing more ice ogres to awaken. In a tense moment, Eli uses the Slayer and Slug to successfully put the ice ogres back to sleep, restoring peace to the cavern. Dana Poor, the daughter of Will Shane's old partner, Tom Poor, comes looking for treasure that she believes Will had hid from her father. She searches the hideout at night for the treasure, but Eli and the slugs spot her. After a quick scuffle, she mentions a hidden treasure and leaves. The gang enthusiastically searches for the treasure in the hideout, when Eli finds a safe behind a photo frame. The safe holds a chest encased in a layer of molten magma. Only the forged smelter can melt the chest. The gang searches for the forged smelter in magma caverns. Dana Poor gets to the nest before them and scares off the forged smelters, leaving only one. She reveals that Will Shane had told her father of a treasure and promised to split it with him, but her father was ultimately betrayed. Eli offers to share the treasure with her, and they open the chest to find it is only filled with everyday objects. Dana finds a device and wears it, thus summoning the Shadow Clan. The gang escapes while Eli tries to lead the Shadow Clan away. When he reaches a dead end, Burpee asks Eli to wear the device. The Shadow Clan's leader tells Eli that he is wearing a Shadow Talker, a circuit that allows him to communicate with the Shadow Clan. When the Shadow Clan's leader finds out that Eli is a Shane, he tells him that he is not ready to handle the device's full power, but allows him to keep it until he is. Eli tells the gang about the Shadow Talker. Meanwhile, Dana disappears with a second device she'd taken from the chest. Using a journal written by Eli's great-uncle, a ridiculed adventurer plans an expedition to the Burning World, referring to the surface. He announces to a crowd that anyone who believes in his quest should join him the following day. Eli learns about this and feels compelled to stop the adventurer. However, when sneaking out from their hideout, Trixie and Cord catch him in the act. Misunderstanding his intentions, the gang decides to follow Eli. The adventurer is thrilled that Eli wants to join the expedition, but Trixie and Cord are frustrated with Eli for not explaining his true motives for going, creating tension within the group as they set off on the adventure. The gang returns to the hideout while Eli manages to steal the journal. The adventurer and a group of slingers chase Eli back to the hideout. Eli reveals that the burning world is real, and after some assurance, the gang
They never seem to listen to me.
duels the group of explorers. In the middle of the battle, Cord is taken hostage, and as a last resort, Eli burns the journal using Burpee. The adventurer leaves after being called a fraud. Eli then reveals the truth to the gang that he came from the surface and shows
Met you. I said I came from a secret cavern.
them the tunnel through which he came to Slugterra. While attempting to deliver a package to Dr. Black, Lock and Load are once again confronted by the Shane gang. After the battle, Eli's slugs, except for Glimmer and Suds, start their journey back to the hideout but are intercepted along the way. To buy time, Eli agrees to duel Munch, a monster that has been devouring all the food in the cavern's restaurants, while sending Trixie and Cord to retrieve the remaining slugs. Unbeknownst to Eli, Burpee and the other slugs encounter various challenges on their way home, ultimately leading them to steal an elephant mecha beast. Just when things look dire for Eli, his slugs manage to come to the rescue, helping him defeat Munch and resolve the food crisis. Quentin, a mad scientist, was experimenting with robo-slugs, a new generation of slugs which has the abilities of all the slugs of Slugterra. He was running mad using the robo-slug in the town, so his sister ringed to the Shane gang to seek help from them. They end up with him in a duel in which Eli defeats him using the enigma slug. This was because enigma was a rare one and only a few people have seen it transform. As a result, Quentin didn't know about the abilities of enigma slug. He flees and returns with a giant robot and defeats them. Proud that he has defeated the Shane gang, he leaves the place. After the duel, his sister tells him about her brother's flashback that when he was a young boy, he went to a field trip with his family when his brother tried to get rid of him and pushed him into a room filled with slugs. Due to this incident, he developed a phobia of slugs. So he made the robo-slugs to replace the original slugs. Then Eli plans to face Quentin using a giant robot they made using their mecha beasts. Quentin has the advantage in the fight as he was using the robo-slugs, and the Shane gang's robot was losing all its parts and collapsed. Eli and Quentin were about to start a duel when Quentin's brother and sister threw a bunch of slugs at him. He started running about the place when Eli shot a flopper slug named Noodle at him. Noodle orders the slugs to save him from his robot almost collapsing on him, and with that he develops a liking to Noodle and overcomes his phobia. He was sent to jail when Dr. Black offered him an opportunity to join him and give his robo-slugs for ghouling. Quentin ends up accepting the opportunity. Shinai, the unbeatable master of slug slinging, issues a challenge at a hotel demanding Eli's presence. The Shane gang arrives, and after Trixie introduces Shinai as the unbeatable master, she leaves, telling Eli to meet her the following day to determine if he is worthy of training. That night, the gang discusses Shinai's reputation, with Eli expressing his eagerness to train under her. Early the next morning, Eli is surprised to find many other slingers, including Trixie, Court, and Pronto, vying for her training. Shinai holds a competition, disqualifying most participants, and when some refuse to leave, she showcases her legendary fusion shot with her slugs, Ping and Yang, throwing them out by force. The remaining slingers must now compete in a one-on-one tournament, with the winner earning the chance to be trained by the master. Eli and another slinger reach the finals of Shinai's tournament, only for the mystery slinger to reveal himself as Twist in disguise. An hour before the finals, Eli warns Shinai against training Twist, expressing concern that she might feel guilt over Will Shane and Dr. Black's past, as Shinai had trained Will, leading Black down a dark path. She confides in Eli that perhaps Black needed her guidance more, which heightens Eli's resolve to defeat Twist. Just as the duel is about to start, Black arrives with soldiers, a bull mecha, and a new Gatler blaster. Shinai duels Black, Eli faces Twist, and the gang battles the soldiers. Twist flees after being defeated, but disguises himself as Black to distract Shinai. When she defeats Twist using the fusion shot, the real Black shoots her with a fatal goondock. As she passes, she and her slugs vanish. Eli uses Shinai's blaster to defeat Black with a fusion shot alongside Burpee and Jules. Afterward, the gang holds a small funeral in her honor. Dana uses the device she stole from the treasure chest to teleport from one place to another and becomes a thief. She steals things from everyone, even Trixie's camera. Unaware of the consequences, she steals Black's blaster. So Black appoints the Gentleman to get his blaster back and get Dana alive. Gentleman is an experienced slinger who uses Geoshard slugs to crystallize his opponents. Knowing this, Eli tries to save her from the Gentleman. The gang blackmails him to change sides, and Eli comes up with a plan to prevent Black from chasing Dana. When Black confronts Eli, upon request, they duel. Black backs out on his agreement and reveals the Gentleman. Eli then brings Dana, who acts as his backup. However, the Gentleman corners Dana and shoots her in such a way that she doesn't get crystallized completely when hit with the Geoshard slug. The crystallized Dana falls into a rivet caused by Eli and Black's dueling. Eli saves her and escapes. She gets cured using Pronto's Slyren. Eli thinks that the Shadow Clan device. The next scene opens with the Shane gang visiting Red Hook, who is working on creating a fusion blaster for Eli. Initially skeptical, Red Hook eventually reveals that he needs a Vitalis crystal to build the double-barrel weapon. Determined, the gang sets off to find one. They arrive at the scrap heap, where Court checks for stock and discovers a Vitalis crystal cleverly disguised as an air freshener. However, their success is short-lived as they encounter the Scrap Force, a rival gang of slingers led by the cunning boss Ember. A skirmish ensues, but the Shane gang is quickly overpowered when the Scrap Force employs the X-Mitter against them. Eli then duels Ember, who reveals his other limbs, unleashing a barrage of slugs at Eli. After the battle, the gang manages to escape with the crystal. However, Ember follows them, only to get knocked back to deepest storage. After showing Red Hook the crystal, he begins production on the double barrel, while Dr. Black is already making his Gatler mend. Now, the first scene of Season 3 begins with a speeding black steel train almost hitting a dirt urchin in Slugterra. Inside, Dr. Black commands the goon to push the throttle for maximum speed, eager to showcase the train's power. Morris praises the train's performance, and Black boasts that nothing can stop him. However, the driver warns him that the Shane gang is in their path, prompting Black to order a full-speed advance. After the theme song, the Shane gang narrowly escape as the train crashes through the rocks they were on. Eli questions their lack of plan B and decides to mount up and slug it out. As they pursue the train, Pronto alerts the goons, who retaliate by launching ghouls at the gang. The gang expertly dodges ghouls as they attempt to execute their plan to stop the speeding Black Steel train. However, their efforts to slow it down and target the wheels fail. Pronto alerts Eli to Black, who fires a hopjack at him, narrowly missing. Cord devises a new plan, Plan F, involving him and Eli jumping onto the train while Beatrice and Pronto provide cover. They manage to kick off two goons, but must quickly face Black, whose Gatler threatens to knock Eli off. As the train approaches the Beast Forge, Eli confronts Black, using the double barrel attachment for the first time, but his fusion shot fails to stop the impending destruction. Fortunately, the cave trolls evacuate safely before Black can shoot them. Just then, the Shadow Clan appears and fights off Black's goons, allowing the gang to escape. However, the Shadow Clan captures Eli, leading Black to assume he's dead. The remaining gang decides to pursue Black to stop him from destroying Lumino Cavern. In a mysterious location, the Shadow Clan confronts Eli about his reckless use of slugs, which nearly caused catastrophic effects. They warn him about the importance of understanding slug auras for successful fusion shots. Eli is determined to learn how to see these auras to identify compatible slugs, insisting that he will figure it out himself. Meanwhile, Trixie, Cord, and Pronto reach Breakline Bridge before Black and attempt to disconnect it to prevent the train's passage. Cord successfully rips out the power source, causing the bridge to collapse beneath the train. However, the train miraculously flies to the other side, leaving Trixie disheartened. Back with the Shadow Clan, Eli experiments with Mo, his enigma, to unlock the ability to see slug auras. The Shadow Clan leader informs him that the solution is his grasp. Eli realizes he can use Mo, and after several combinations, he discovers that his Forge Smelter Torch and Thresher Buzzsaw are compatible, yielding impressive results. The Slugterrian Express train arrives, and the miners choose to surrender to avoid conflict. However, Dr. Black, unwilling to have competition, prepares to destroy them with his Gatler. Just then, Jules flies by, distracting Black, allowing Eli to dodge enemy attacks and hide near the train's wheels. Cornered in a rock prison, Eli faces Black, who demands last words. Trixie, Cord, and Pronto arrive on their mechas to assist, fighting off the goons. With Eli's double barrel recharged, he loads Torch and Buzzsaw and unleashes the fusion shot, Magma Blade, which defeats Black and destroys the train. Afterward, Trixie praises Eli's bravery, and he admits that Mo taught him the technique. As the Shadow Clan observes from afar, Black expresses anger at his failure, and Nacho warns him to honor his master's deal to avoid consequences. After the Beast Forge incident, Grendel, together with the other trolls, takes up Slugball but gets injured. Cord takes over for him, but after the semi-final match, the entire team is injured. This leads to the entire gang taking their places, but Eli suspects that the enemy team is cheating. During the last round, he sees Primo Presto hacking the traps. This causes him to leave, causing another member, Thrasher, to leave too and chase down Primo. After winning, Cord gives the trophy to the other trolls, while Primo is captured by Black, because the fault for the sabotage to make Thrasher's team win would be thrown onto the scientist. The gang arrives at Gateway Cavern, where Lock and Load have taken control, only to discover that the King of Sling is posing as the cavern's protector. Aware of the king's true identity, the gang devises a plan to help him maintain the facade of being the best slinger. However, their scheme fails, allowing Lock and Load to escape and return with a strike team. After seizing the king's manor, the gang resolves to help him reclaim it. Just as they make their move, Dr. Black arrives and exposes the king as a fraud. Surprisingly, the cavern's inhabitants reveal they already know the king's stories are fabricated, but still appreciate them as they add excitement to their own otherwise
King of Sling! King of
mundane lives. The people manage to chase Black's henchmen away. The King of Sling defeated Dr. Black by trapping him with a Babalion slug before he could fire his Gatler. After the manor was rebuilt, the King of Sling admits that he may not be the best slug slinger, but he definitely is the luckiest of them all. After the gang is captured by Mr. Saturday at Stalagmite 17, Pronto and Burpee embark on a mission to rescue them. Sneaking into the fortress, they navigate through obstacles and successfully locate Saturday. Meanwhile, the rest of the gang devises a clever ruse to trick Saturday into releasing them from their cell. However, during the escape, Pronto is unmasked and goes on the run, eventually colliding with the rest of the gang. As Pronto works to cure the zombified guards, Dr. Black arrives to confront Eli and the others. In a tense standoff, Eli performs a fusion shot, enabling the gang to break free from Black's clutches and regroup for the fight ahead. In the midst of a duel against Nacho and Mole Mound, Pronto expresses his reluctance to be there. Trixie encourages him to mole up so they can stop Nacho, but their battle endangers the innocent Molenoids. After a brief confrontation, they discover Nacho has disappeared and Pronto is being crowned. Eli to ask him to command the Molenoid army against Nacho. However, Pronto insists he serves his people and is unable to leave. After the Molenoid motto, they struggle to navigate through a maze, wishing Pronto were here to guide them. Frustrated with his kingly duties, he questions if this is his new life, and the lurking Cedo overhears him devising a scheme to relieve Pronto of his responsibilities. Back with the Shane gang, Eli concludes Nacho must be ahead of them. Just then, Nacho reappears on a ledge, initiating another battle. After a brief duel, they reach a sealed door covered in smolten. Eli uses his forge smelter to break through for the Mappe Mundi when Nacho bursts in, demanding the map. Eli cleverly offers to let Nacho help search while secretly preparing a tornado slug. Cord urges Eli to flee as danger looms. Pronto and Cedo face off,
What's it?
each aiming their blasters, falling asleep from the effects. Meanwhile, Nacho demands the Mappe Mundi from Eli, threatening Jules. Eli reluctantly hands over the paper, receiving Jules back, and just as Nacho leaves, he fires a grenadier, causing the building to collapse. Meanwhile, Eli, Trixie, and Cord escape the crumbling building. Trixie laments the loss of Molenoid knowledge. Was planned to give the Mappe Mundi to Dr. Black. Focus. Shane Gang responds to a distress call in a remote cavern and teams up with a group of slingers, welcoming a new member named Rookie. They devise a plan to dismantle a barrier protecting a fortress. Rookie struggles with his slinging skills during his first attempts, but eventually finds his footing. After breaking through the barrier and battling Darkbane forces, they successfully capture and rescue Burpee, reclaiming the cavern. However, their victory is short-lived as they learn that Dr. Black is initiating invasions across multiple caverns, indicating a looming threat that puts their triumph in jeopardy. Eli finds himself confronting a squad of Black's goons led by Cece while dealing with Burpee's illness. After Cece successfully tracks Eli with a ghoul at Black's request, Eli escapes. Upon returning, he learns from Pronto, who is stuck to the ceiling, about the light well. With the help from his slugs, Eli, along with Banger, Spinner, and Chiller, ventures into the light well, avoiding Shadow Clan guards. Meanwhile, Cece and his team use dark light from a Photomo to distract the Shadow Clan while Black sneaks in. At the well, Eli confronts Black, who attempts to destroy it as Burpee absorbs healing energy. However, Black's plan backfires when his ghouls are healed instead. After being pushed back by a firewall, both Black and Cece are defeated by the gang and captured by the Shadow Clan, leading to the ominous declaration that the battle for Slugterra has just begun. Brody, a friend of Trixie, urges everyone to shut their windows and secure their slugs. In the countryside, a little girl named Trini is playing with her hoverbug Flutter when her mother tells her to go to bed. Reluctantly, Trini agrees, leaving Flutter's protection on. Suddenly, the High Plains monster attacks Flutter and Trini flees in fear, leaving her torch behind. The next morning, the Shane Gang arrives to investigate the situation. The townsfolk hold a meeting where the mayor offers 2,000 gold to whoever catches the High Plains monster, while Stalker insists on 5,000 gold. As various teams, including the Shane Gang, set out to hunt the monster, they face multiple attacks. Eli learns from the Shadow Clan that balance between shadow and light is crucial, as the barrier has been broken. Teaming up with Stalker and using the townsfolk's Phosphoros and Burpee's Supernova, they successfully defeat the High Plains monster. Despite his bravery, Stalker declines the reward, stating that he doesn't want to be reminded of his good deed. The Shane gang has successfully apprehended Dr. Black and is tasked with transporting him to Stalagmite 17, the most secure prison in Slugterra. To prepare for the journey, Cord reveals impressive modifications to their mecha beasts, enhancing their speed and capabilities. However, during the trip, Quentin employs powerful Titan tanks to attempt a rescue. Quentin employs powerful Titan attacks to attempt a rescue, igniting a thrilling chase and battle. Amidst the action, Eli discovers a new level of power called Megamorphing by pushing his mecha to its limits. This newfound strength helps the gang outmaneuver Quentin and his forces. Ultimately, the Shane gang succeeds in delivering Dr. Black to Stalagmite 17, ensuring he is securely contained and unable to threaten Slugterra again. CC, Locke, Lode, and John Bull attempt to free Dr. Black from Stalagmite 17. When Eli returns to his post, Black recounts his tragic past, sharing how his father abandoned him, forcing him to serve the bandit Vigo Dare in a lawless cavern. After being rejected by the unbeatable master, Black overthrew Dare to seize control of the cavern. Meanwhile, Millard Milford and security slingers support the Shane gang against Black's goons during the breakout attempt. As Black narrates his rivalry with Will Shane and his discovery of dark water, he explains how his experiments opened a terra portal to the deep caverns, resulting in his transformation and alliance with the Darkbane after being pulled in by one. Black creates his first ghoul to defeat Will Shane. When Eli presses for details about his father, Black refuses to divulge more. Just then, Nachos arrives with a Titan tank and Gatler, causing chaos that allows Black and 4 Darkbanes to escape. The Shane gang then leaves Stalagmite 17 to plan their next move. The Shane gang responds to a distress call in a distant cavern where they destroy a bunker on the beach and encounter a town filled with slingers. There they meet remaining slingers and recruit a new member named Rookie. After devising an attack plan, they set out to breach a barrier, but Rookie struggles to transform for the first time. Eventually, the gang successfully captures the barrier and decides to approach the fortress from a different angle. During this time, Burpee tries to lift Rookie's spirits, but Rookie accidentally detonates one of his grenades, alerting a patrol and sparking a brief battle. After overcoming the patrol, the gang prepares to assault the fortress, which they discover is guarded by a Darkbane. During the attack on the outer wall, Burpee is captured, giving Rookie the courage he needed, and the wall is brought down. While the gang fights Bane, Rookie manages to free Burpee. However, the Bane escapes and the gang retake the cavern. The celebration is cut short though when dozens of distress calls come in, revealing that Black is invading all the caverns. The Shane gang attempts to unite the residents of the cavern against Dr. Black during a raid, but fails when they discover that Black's ghouls have been megamorphed. After a skirmish with Nacho, during which Burpee also undergoes a megamorph, the gang retreats in their mechas. They seek assistance from Red Hook, only to find him captured in Quiet Lawn Cavern, forced by Black to create accelerators. Eli is subsequently captured and brought to Black's citadel by Twist, Nacho, and Darkbane brothers. With Burpee's help, Eli escapes and disguises himself in a Black's goon suit to infiltrate the citadel, where he learns of Black's plan to create a Terra portal to the dark caverns. He confronts Black, and after a slug out with Red Hook is interrupted by Black's goons, they manage to escape with Trixie, Cord, and Pronto's assistance, reuniting as a team to return home. The Shane gang assault Dr. Black's stronghold, while Pronto is given the mission to contact the Shadow Clan in order to repel Dr. Black and the Darkbane once and for all. When Eli, Trixie, and Cord arrive, they find Black and his goons waiting outside. Eli charges in to destroy the Terra portal, but already finds it active and is forced to duel Black one-on-one, while Trixie and Cord duel everyone else outside. However, the gang's blasters can only handle so much Megamorph energy before a cooldown and suffer defeat due to Black and the Darkbane not having this handicap for some reason. Nacho damages Cord's Mecha Beast, causing him to go in a rage, resulting in a brawl, leaving Trixie to duel the rest of the Darkbane alone. Meanwhile, Eli gets shot through a wall and separated from his accelerator upgrade. He responds with a fusion shot that miraculously defeats a Megamorph. However, the Terra portal is almost finished. Trixie loses her blaster and is forced to use Cord's and literally gets knocked off her feet due to the recoil. Pronto arrives with the Shadow Clan, defeats the Darkbane, and everyone charges into the portal room for a last stand. The portal is finally complete, and the Darkbane army teleports through. In the battle, Pronto remembers that he also brought Doc, the guardian healer slug, and Eli uses him to shut down the machine. Doc's powers actually puts the machine in reverse, sucking all of the Darkbane back to the deep caverns. And Eli and Black get sucked in as well. The Shadow Clan leader attempts to shut down the portal by jamming the gear, while Eli and Black continue fighting on the trip down. Eli escapes riding on Burpee, and the Shadow Clan thank the Shane gang for stopping Black and the Darkbane. The scene ends at the drop to the surface, where the gang think Eli is leaving, but instead he uses Burpee to seal the entrance just before Blight appears riding on a dinosaur. After Dr. Black and the Darkbane are defeated, Slugterra begins to return to normal. However, with Black gone, various criminal gangs are trying to assert their dominance, and they all wield Megamorph blasters. After dealing with the scrap force at the mall, the Shane gang receives an SOS from the King of Sling, reporting that a group of Megamorph ghoul marauders is ravaging his home cavern. Upon arrival, the gang discovers the marauders capturing every Fandango in sight. As they engage in battle, the marauders spot Burpee, mistaking him for an Infernus, and make a hasty retreat. The Shane gang chases after them as they approach the edge of Slugterra, which is the easternmost cavern bordered only by a solid wall. The marauders use the captured Fandango to power a Terra portal through which their leader, the Dark Slinger, emerges, armed with a ghoul boondock, known as a goon. During the battle, Doc gets sucked into the slugways, prompting Burpee to chase after him. This becomes a major issue when the goon reveals his ability to transform slugs into ghouls and is soon identified as the true leader of the marauders. The goon strikes Eli and enters his mind, explaining that the Dark Slinger was the guardian of his cavern system, wielding the goulded Infernus as evidence of his role before the goon took control. Previously, the goon sensed the emergence of ghouls in Slugterra and was drawn to investigate. Eli informs him that he and his team stopped the one responsible for creating the ghouls, Dr. Black. Now, the goon is on a quest to find the strongest slinger in Slugterra to aid in its takeover, identifying Eli as that key figure. With a grip on Eli's mind, the goon commands his men to transport the Fandangos back through the Terra portal to continue fueling it, enabling them to bring their conquering army into Slugterra. Pronto enters the portal and successfully rescues the Fandangos, trapping the goon on this side and isolating him from his army. However, this victory is also short-lived as Eli falls completely under the goon's control and turns against his friends. Fortunately, Burpee arrives with Doc, breaking the goon's hold over Eli just as the goon flees in fear into the slugways. With the remnants of his connection to the goon, Eli can sense him starting to rebuild his army, create more ghouls, and search for a new host. On the bright side, they now have a new ally in Junji, the champion of the Eastern Cavern, who can help them defeat the goon. Junji has become a member of the Shane gang and introduces them to the concept of slug food, which allows him to forge a deep connection with his slugs, enabling him to control them from a distance. He demonstrates this ability with his Infernus, Juju. However, things take a bizarre turn when all of the gang's air and toxic slugs suddenly transform into incurable ghouls. Further investigation reveals that every air and toxic slug in Slugterra has been affected. As the group rushes to address the chaos, they are ambushed by the Shadow Clan and taken to their base. There, Eli is hit by an enigma slug which contains a holographic message from Will Shane. The hologram reveals that if Will is ever absent and Slugterra faces a serious threat, the Shadow Clan has been instructed to locate Eli and use the enigma slug on him. The message details the legends of the elemental, stating that all slugs evolved from 5 primordial slugs that regulate and control the life force of Slugterra, each representing one of the 5 elements: earth, fire, water, air, and energy. If any of these elementals were to be affected by a condition such as becoming a ghoul, all their descendants would also be impacted, including those that have evolved into unique sub-elements like toxic slugs. In such a case, Eli must locate all 5 elementals, restore them to their original forms, and launch them simultaneously. This action would effectively cure every slug in Slugterra. With the wind slug already ghouled, the Shane gang decides to pursue the water slug next. They discover that the high number of ghouled slugs has adversely affected the environment, transforming regular water into dark water. To make matters worse, they learn that the new alliance has formed, consisting of the Darkbane, the Goon with a new Dark Slinger, and the heavily mutated Dr. Black, who was altered after falling into the deep caverns during Eli's last encounter with him. After realizing the Water Elemental is also Ghoul, the Shane Gang sets their sights on the Earth Elemental. However, their mistrust of Junji nearly leads to disaster when they almost drown in mud, only to be saved by Earth Elemental. Meanwhile, the Alliance heads to the Quiet Lawn Tavern to collect the Energy Elemental, only to find it missing, leading to a confrontation with Red Hook. After the Alliance departs, the Shane Gang arrives and encounters the same obstacle as the Alliance, even with Cord's elemental Slug Tracker. When they find Red Hook, who has been injured after Black crushed him with a rock, the gang helps him. Initially, things seem bleak until Doc arrives and heals Red Hook. Eli then connects the dots, realizing that since he found Doc in Quiet Lawn, Doc must be the Energy Elemental itself. With each member holding 2 elementals, the Shane Gang sets out to retrieve the final slug. The only entrance to the cavern is a large hole, forcing Junji and Eli to go alone, as they are the only ones capable of riding their infurnaces to the top. Unfortunately, during their ascent, the fire elemental gets ghouled, resulting in both infurnaces transforming into ghouls as well. Cord devises a plan to dismantle their mecha beasts for parts, using them to build jetpacks for the others to provide essential backup. The ensuing battle spills into a heavily ghouled mushroom forest where the Goon is separated from his slinger, who is shockingly revealed to be Eli's long-lost father, Will Shane. With the Earth Elemental also ghouled, the group has only their energy slugs left to fight with, making Doc their only hope to cure the elementals. Dr. Black and the Goon agree to put their differences aside to take down the Shane Gang. Amid the chaos, a shot from the Wind Elemental opens a Terra portal into the deep caverns, into which Will, Black, and the Goon are knocked. Despite his pain, the group convinces Eli to fire off the slugs with the others, saving Slugterra but stealing the portal in the process. Eli vows to rescue his father, promising that nothing will stand in their way. The Shane Gang sets out to investigate a distress call, with Cord speculating whether it could be related